Thank you, everyone. Let's move on very quickly and touch base with Brexit. So we're all in the final days to January 31st, 2020 for Brexit. So the UK authorities are still trying to get everyone to be upbeat about what happens after January the 31st. Juliana Olayinka is joining me live for this conversation from our London studios. Juliana, good morning. It's been a very busy week for you. You need to take a breather and take some rest. But just before we let you go, what's Chancellor Javid talking about when it comes to post-Brexit reassurances given businesses?
Good morning, Bosun. Well, this all stems from an interview that the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Sajid Javid, gave to the Financial Times last weekend, just before Davos kicked off. And he basically said that there will be no alignment with EU rules after the Brexit transition period. And this has really rattled the feathers of business groups. So many of them spoke out saying that, you know, it's absolutely ridiculous, that the way we're doing business now, aligning to those rules, doesn't really affect whether or not we're in or out of the EU, and it would be much easier, especially where it pertains to key sectors, including car manufacturing and agriculture. I think the reaction maybe surprised him. He has been at Davos. He was one of the few cabinet ministers that Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, allowed to attend, and he's been giving a series of press briefings, and he gave one yesterday, basically trying to reassure them, saying that, look, you know, we don't want to stick to the rules, but if alignment, we're not going to stop aligning if it's not necessary. So really trying to take off the pressure, but then, of course, still trying to appease the hardline Brexiteers, because one thing the hardline Brexiteers don't want is to stick with EU rules, which is why we're kind of in this Brexit situation in the first place.
So on the side of big businesses, Juliana, what are they worried about when it comes to skilled workers? There'll be issues of immigration to deal with morning after January 31st.
Well, immigration has always been a key factor when it comes to Brexit. Hardline Brexiteers, again, they want the numbers low. The business community, they want the borders to be kept quite widely open because they need these workers. Boris Johnson has said that he'll be trying to adopt an Australian-style point system. So if you try to get into the UK, they will judge your entrance based on what you can bring to the economy. Now, the figure they were floating before was about a £30,000 minimum per annum salary, which for most people is just way too high. So the government have been rethinking that strategy. And so what the business world in the UK have been trying to do is offer their assistance to the government and say, look, you know, we understand just how the industry works. Let us help with this immigration part of the transition period so we can make sure that Britain is still kept competitive and we still have a diverse labour force.
Okay, let's wrap it up, Juliana, in just a few minutes about the market so far this week. The Bank of England had an event next week when it comes to interest rate decision, and then all of that. How does it all come onto your market streets on the equity side, on the side of the pound sterling?
Pretty light today in corporate news. We are expecting that UK PMI flash data any time from now, which will give us a key indication to just what the state of the British economy is. We had good Labour report earlier this week. So if it seems to be that the UK economy is turning round, then when the Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee meet next week, it's very unlikely that they will cut interest rates, although at the moment everybody thinks there will be a small cut. Of course, the coronavirus has been sending the markets into a frenzy. We seem to have gone back off that at the moment. The sentiment seems to be that it could be contained, considering that the World Health Organization haven't called a pandemic at the moment. So the equities opened, FTSE 100 opened about 70 points higher. The US dollar is unchanged on the pound. I think a pound is worth about $1.31 at the moment. So yes, all eyes on the PMI data, but at the moment in the UK, we've opened higher.
Yes, exactly. I'm sure it's going to be a very busy day, Juliana. But just before you go, the flash composite PMI data is just out on Bloomberg. As we're having this conversation, the PMI is actually much better, reading 52.4 against 49.3. The estimate was
wow.
50.7. That's a big jump. We have a lot to chew about over lunch at 1:30 with Business Incorporated today. It's a very big day for Nigeria's central bank. First interest rate meeting decisions out today from 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm sure you'll be watching that in the UK. But the story out of Bloomberg says the CPIS and the AIHS market release is better for the UK. Forecast range 49.5 from 24 economists. New orders actually went up from 50.5 in December to 53.1 in the month of January. The index rises to 52.4 from 49.3 in December. A year ago, that was reading 50.3. This is the highest reading in the PMI for the UK since September 2018. That's coming straight from Bloomberg. This is huge.
Wow, wow.
This is huge. This is, I'm sure, number 10 Downing Street will take this.
2019 was terrible. We'll take it. We'll take it in the afternoon, Bosun. Thank you.
Yes, I know. 10 Downing Street will dance all around this. I think this is giving some ammunition to the Chancellor of the Exchequer and the Bank of England having their meeting next week. This is quite positive reading for the BOE.
It's absolutely a positive reading. If indeed you are still talking to me, Bosun, look, you know, 50 is the key figure. Anything below 50, which is what we saw throughout 2019, is not good. But above 50 is fantastic. This is really good news for Boris Johnson's government, particularly as he potentially is getting himself in a spat with the US President Donald Trump. So yes, I will chew those numbers at my desk, and I'll give you an update in a couple of hours.
Yes, very, very interesting. Even the CEO at the Deutsche Bank says it looks like the right sound bites are coming out of London right now when it comes to Brexit. That's what he says at Davos. That's the CEO at Deutsche Bank. But all of that later in the afternoon. Thank you so much. You need to get back to the desk and try to put all of this into market perspective for us. Thank you so much, Juliana Olayinka from our London studios. We'll take a quick break, everyone. We'll be right back.